we all have professions, and we approach our professions with such diligence and such commitment and such professionalism. It's just incredible. The commitment that we have to our professions, to how we keep our home, to the cleanliness of our cars, the cars we drive. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But when it comes to the way we approach our food, there's this level of lax.
Yeah, so well said.
And we choose to not cross our T's and dot our I's.
Yeah.
But like a B- or a B+ is not acceptable in our English paper. But it's totally cool to put a B- in our mouth,
So well said.
Right? It's totally okay.
Yes.
It's actually, in fact, like live a little bit, have a D.
Right.
Have a D and an F,
Wouldn't that be interesting? You just actually got me thinking, wouldn't that be interesting if we had some kind of health rating like that on every food? Oof. So that you could be like, hey, this is an F in health. You might like the taste of it, but just know it's scored an F. Like, would that change? Because we're so success driven, we're so grade driven. Like, would that change the way people would approach food? It's a really interesting thought.
And then the premise of and the why, right? F doesn't feel good. People know they're eating the bad food. They don't need an F to tell them that they're eating the bad food. So now the question is the why. And it's like, well, because the good food's going to make you feel good. And how do you trust that? And how do you trust the process? And what's the outcome and the fulfillment, right? The fulfillment of your life, right? That you get to enjoy your life and then potentially explore other dimensions even, and really make the best of this journey. So, I mean, that's the why. And so when you mention the A to F, it's kind of funny because on one end, I'm sure a lot of people would not appreciate that. It's like, it's kind of serious. And it's like, but at the same time, the seriousness is kind of moving into a place in which you start to respect yourself more, right? Because
so well said.
Because the truth of it is you're disrespecting yourself when you eat those foods and drink that liquid. And then you're hiding in a space of, lack of a better word, in the party space, right? And you party only to have a crash later. As you get older, there's no avoiding the crash. The crashes become, it's like the binges become shorter because you can't access them for, you can go on longer binges when you're younger. And so the lessons become shorter, and then it's like, why am I even doing this? It's only a 1-day binge and I get nothing out of it. So in any case, the idea is that you're able to create that foundation in which you can bring in those experiences on a consistent basis, and they add onto themselves and the A-like, living, right? There can be some B+, lots of lessons all over the place, always, right?
I think the way you explain this is really beautiful, because I believe as we age, our cells, not our mind or our spirit, but our cells become less tolerant of the abuse. And so what they do is they give you more fatigue. They give you more cravings. They give you more anxiety in your brain. And all of that is just a cry from your cells to stop physically, emotionally, chemically toxifying them. And so you really bring up a really interesting point where I think we have to look at the wisdom of aging as when you have these aches and pains in your body, when your mind isn't at that performance level, it's just your cells saying enough. I can't handle it anymore. You've got to do something different. And I can tell you with women that as we get over 40, we don't have that neurochemical armor of estrogen, progesterone that used to protect us. And so our cells are just so exposed, which is why I'm so intrigued as a 53-year-old woman by products like yours, because it feels like cellular healing.